And it's Taylor Gang, I died.
Who you with?
Reec.
Yeah. Who you with?
Who you with?
Hey, let's go ahead and get this thing started. Feeling good. Thursday, almost the weekend. We got a very special guest in the building. So shout out to this beautiful lady. I'm about to introduce her in a second. But shout out to everybody that's been tuned in and tapped in with us this week. Had some great guests already. I saw one of my guests was one of your guests too. So we're going to talk about that in a second. All right.
Okay.
But we also want to just thank you guys for tuning in with us each and every day and being part of our audience. Without further ado, let's get to it.
It's all about that star power.
Stay tuned because you know Reec is going to have one of your favorite stars with him today.
Stay tuned.
All right, she really doesn't need an introduction because she's popping out here in these streets. You know what I'm saying? So listen, this woman has had a new show on foxsoul. So let's hit the hype bell for that. Doing her thing. She's been in the podcast and streaming world for quite some time now. She has turned her pain and made it into progress, and that's what we talk about. Amen to that. Amen to that. Miss Chanel Nicole Scott is in the building.
Yay.
The owner of CheMinistry.
Yes.
On foxsoul. Let me put that in there.
Yeah, you
Let me
gotta put that on there. You can't
On
leave
foxsoul.
On foxsoul.
Like I'm bidding for the voiceover work. So let's talk about it because I met you through somebody, but it was a mutual friend of ours. But it was basically for what you were doing as an author. You guys were writing a book, and you were putting some of this information that people really need out here on some pages. And but you had been doing it in the streaming world.
Yes, and the live event world. So I've been doing Coministry for about 7 years, and we were hosting events quarterly prior to COVID.
Yeah.
I was going between Atlanta and Charlotte, and we were doing, the local thing. And, we took a break. I didn't do the virtual thing during COVID, and I sat down and I said, we're going to come back bigger and badder.
And you
So
did.
we sit down and strategize on how we going to do this thing.
Okay.
And so here we are. We just got picked up by foxsoul.
Let me hit that hype bell again. I told y'all. So you're going around city to city, and you are taking your platform and doing a live event, right? And you got people coming in, and you share your story. You bring guests in, and people get to ask questions. And Coministry is all over the place, right?
Yes.
COVID hits, so you can't be around people.
Whew.
So you say, you know what? I'm just gonna sit still.
So the truth is, I did try my hand at one virtual event.
Okay.
We had an amazing platform. The set was beautiful. We rented an Airbnb, set it up, and the technology was horrible.
So it was the Teddy Riley situation.
Oh God, it was horrible. And I had some amazing guests. I think I had Stefan Speaks. I had Drea Kelly.
Yeah.
And I had Jasmine Sanders, D.L. Hughley's co-host.
Yeah. Now that's a heck of a lineup.
Yeah, for me to have some jacked up technology.
Right.
Right. And so when that happened, I said, there is no way I'm going to ruin my brand with this type of technology. I just can't do it. So I said, you know what? This isn't for me. Let me just sit down. Maybe it's time for me to take a break. And so I just sat down for the remainder of our COVID sick and shut in.
Right.
And I just really strategized. Like, I actually connected with foxsoul when we were in the midst of COVID.
Okay.
2 years ago, September.
So how did that work? Because you got so many people that have amazing content, right? And they were looking to maybe partner with a bigger source.
Yes.
Or a bigger platform. You were able to successfully do that.
Yes.
How did that conversation start?
So I had a young lady who was working with me who was she created a treatment and sent it, and it got in the right hands.
Wow.
And
awesome.
they liked what we were doing so much, they set us up with a Zoom with James DeBose, who is the general manager of foxsoul.
Right. Nice.
And even at the time, we pitched, and he was like, I really want to see this in the studio. And I'm like, how are we doing this in the studio, man?
Right.
So that means I have to wait, essentially. And we waited again, we waited. But I kept the communication going. I mean, I followed the man on Instagram. I would send him a DM with show ideas and things of that nature, just keeping the line of communication open.
Keeping it fresh.
Keeping it fresh. And so then when we started the live event again, I let him know, hey, we're going to have a live event in Atlanta. He wasn't able to make the first one, but he saw the clips.
Yeah.
The clips that we posted on social media, reached out and was like, when are you going to have the next one? I let him know. He was like, I want to be there. I want to see what you guys do in person. And so he came to Charlotte. He flew to Charlotte and he sat in on the production. I was nervous as hell. Can I say that I was nervous?
You can talk your mind.
Nervous. I couldn't breathe, y'all. And he loved it. We went to dinner I had an amazing publicist, Ebony Porter EK of EPI Media. Because I let her know, I said, hey, James is coming. She was like, wait. We got to make sure that we on the same page. By the time we got out of that Zoom, we was working on possibly doing a pilot if he liked what we had to offer. And then she solidified that because I just had him coming. But she got the pilot.
She created the follow through.
Yeah, she created the follow through.
Y'all are listening. You got to have a team in place.
You got to have the team in place. And you got to be ready, because now that I know what I know, looking back, had he offered me the opportunity when we initially pitched, we were not ready. There's so many things that go into having a successful production budget. You know, I have some money.
Right. Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, because it's gotta be competitive to whatever else is out there in that same space.
Absolutely. And then you just gotta be strategic about what you're putting out there, make sure it's a good product. So we took the time to really create a good product that they were interested in, and then they came on board and they fine-tuned it. And so this past Saturday we had an amazing television production.
Let's hit the hype bell for that. That's what I'm talking about. Now that's growth. That's got to be a beautiful thing to see your baby. You birthed this little flower, and then you watered it and put it in a bigger pot, and now it's sitting in a garden.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm so excited about the opportunity that has been afforded to us, because I mean, we all really, really worked hard, and my end goal has always been TV. Even when I was doing it on Peter Street at Dream Cafe, to Sweet Lounge, to Lee Tavern, Hard Rock Spaces, all these places, Punch Bowl Social. I always saw a television show, but I also believed in developing and building the brand first. Something that people actually found value in. You got to put it's not about always getting a check right off the bat. You got to really serve, and you got to invest in yourself before somebody else invests in you.
I hope
and
y'all
so
hearing this right now.
That's key. That's key. You've got to invest in yourself, because some people say, well, if I'm not making any money off of it, then there's no point in doing it. It doesn't work that way.
What have you done? It's just like being an athlete. Like, you have to put in the work to practice.
Have to put in the work.
Right, to make a team. And then once you make a team, you have to be manageable, coachable.
Right. Absolutely. And oh my God. And I mean, I'm open. I'm like a garden. Like, I'm like, pour into me. I want to learn the business, because this is also a new season, a new TV. I don't know anything about TV. So it's a learning curve, you know, trying to understand the jargon or what the requirements, even how they move. Like, because I'm used to doing events, and TV, they do things a little bit different. I'm like, y'all, I need this right now. And they like, okay, with Chanel. I'm like, okay. So just trying to make the adjustment from event world to television.
That makes so much sense. And some of us may get caught up in the, I've been doing this for this long, I know what I'm doing, but actually you've leveled up, and on this new level there are different rules.
Absolutely.
Right. I get it. But we definitely want to give you your flowers for being able to hit that level, you know what I mean, and get to it, to have that in mind. So many people, you know, they start one place, they want to get to the next place. You're in that next place now. So what is the difference with, like, you're working with a partner like foxsoul, and you on these sets now, you're still your thing, but they have something to do with it. So what's your mind frame when you walk into the set now?
Well, you have to be open-minded. They give me, like, I've always created my own content, and I still have the freedom to, because I'm like, producers writing what? I do my own research, but they just want to be involved. You know, and as long as it's in alignment with what they want. Like, one of the things I had to brief my team on going into this, because in times past we'll get these guests, they have to align with the topic. Foxsoul booked a relationship show. They didn't book no business show, no work show. You know, when we talk about rejection last week, we had to be very clear. We're not talking about rejection in the context of work, your family. We're talking about in the context of romantic relationships. This is what they book, and this is what we're going to give them.
That makes so much sense. Make sure it's relatable.
Absolutely. And so, you know, because sometimes people come in and try to censor how much they share. No, not, and that's never been the case with Coministry.
Not on Coministry.
Not on
you
Coministry.
Better open that book.
That's right. You better come on here. If you can't be transparent, open, honest with your experiences, then we can't utilize it.
But I think that's what makes the show win and makes it so genuine, because you've been able to have people really talk about these things in a real matter-of-fact way. Right, in a way that people are, okay, I understand that because I've been through it, but I may not have looked at it from that perspective.
Right. Right, absolutely. And so I always start out with my own personal experiences. Even though this last event, I didn't have to tell too much of my business. I love that. Because, I mean, sometimes I have to do that to get them going.
Get them warmed up, right.
But this time, based on feedback that was given to me from Foxsoul, which they said, Chanel, why don't you have them paint, like tell their experience with Rejection, and then that's how you'll go into the show. Yeah. And that worked like magic, because as I went to each panelist and said, so what is your experience? Then that opened up a world of questions for me that I could like get more out of them versus trying to pull teeth and figure out who I'm gonna go to first and all of that. It was just very easy. Yeah. So
it's almost like you open it up for them to give you the platform,
right?
And you were able to pick out each question,
right? Absolutely.
Like that. That's it. Look at y'all working. I see you. So in that show, because that's aired already.
It was just taped.
Gathering spot.
Yeah,
you just taped.
Right. Okay. So that will air. It will air in the month of June.
Okay.
It's in editing now, so I'm expecting that it will edit within the next 2 weeks or so.
Okay. So it's a lot of folks. It's the summertime. There's a lot of folks out there shooting their shot, and they getting rejected in one way or another. So this is right on time.
right on time. And then we have the pilot that's it's actually on their YouTube page, because the pilot was a little different. The formatting obviously wasn't formatted for TV, was more event style. Yeah. But it is on the Foxsoul's YouTube page. We dealt with trauma bonding, which the content was amazing.
So what is that, trauma bonding?
Trauma bonding is when you connect with someone out of some dysfunction or toxicity. You know, sometimes we connect and we don't know how to disconnect. And then we stay in these situations where people either gaslight us or use us, mistreat us, mishandle us. Right. And we don't understand why we can't disconnect. And what we essentially...
hit the hype bell for that. I need to understand that. Well, talk to me, okay?
So essentially, we like help people understand what trauma bonding was. Because sometimes we connect with these people and we don't disconnect right away, but we don't understand the behavior. And it's difficult because our emotions are caught up in it. And so we had Mimi on that one from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, and Tara from Love and Hip Hop New York. And then we had Stefan Speaks, and then we had Bishop Don from Black Ink Chicago.
Oh, I was about to say Don Juan, pimping on now. Okay, now I get what you're saying. I was like, oh, that's a lot of trauma bonding.
So Stefan Speaks, he was amazing. Like, we painted the picture for him, but he just dropped those nuggets, that wisdom, practical principles on how to, get out of those situations. Because you find yourself, it doesn't even have to be romantic in nature and the trauma bond. Because you can just, like for me, I realized I'll be honest, I was in a trauma bonding situation. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia by myself, and I don't have a lot of friends, and I got maybe 2 family members that I see from time to time, and then you get a person who show you a little bit of attention or a little interest, and then you attach yourself to that, and then it turns into something dysfunctional, and then it starts affecting every other aspect of your life, and you know that this is happening, but then there are also some positive characteristics about this person that you really like as well. So you're trying to justifying the behavior, and people on the outside, they can see, and you're covering up by making excuses. You're not telling the truth about what's really going on, or you try to pull out the positives to make it outweigh the bad. But it's evident. It's evident. And so we talked about that, and I was like, wow, like it was eye awakening when I did the research, because I was like, oh hell, I know. Because when you see what you're doing, you gotta
so when you take a step back, you saying, and then you look at yourself, because now you become that person telling you, hey,
I got mad.
Be the best thing for you.
I was like mad. I resented the situation for allowing it to happen for as long as I did, because I'm like, what in me would allow something like this to happen? You know when somebody ain't treating you right, or mishandling you, or either taking advantage of a particular situation.
So were you able to pinpoint what it was that was making it? Was it just because they filled the void at a time?
It was a lack of support. Like, so for me, just my circle is small. So for me, when I connect with certain people, I don't want to air them out on the radio. You about to make me call names.
It's not for that. But I know what you mean.
Clues.
No. I'm saying that it's a man or a woman right now watching this, right?
Yeah.
Or to run this back and be like, hey, I might be in that situation, but what was the thing that made you? Okay.
I say this, like, you like for me, lack of support, like, I saw the signs. I mean, it was very evident that I wasn't being treated properly, or I was being mishandled. But then there were also some positive things that I loved about this person, and I would try to pull those things out, and then I would make excuses about why that person acted that way, or even self-blame. We blame ourselves. Well, maybe if I hadn't have done this, or maybe if I'd just get it in my head that it's this way, then maybe we would be fine.
Right. So it's almost like you're justifying their behavior through your own. So you're like, I should have did it this way, then they would act right.
Yeah, and then just taking the blame. I took the blame for a while, walked around with that and blamed myself, apologized for things that I should have never apologized for it, because I was being mishandled, and then issues, then for those of us who have issues with self-worth and not really knowing our value or not knowing who we are. Okay. I struggle with that. Even with this platform, I struggled with who I was and my value, and it took,
even though who you are got you to this state.
Yeah, I struggled with it. This person had me thinking I was nothing or nobody or wasn't good enough, and I don't know why I thought that.
Gaslighting situation.
Yeah, like Right. So you gotta be careful about that. I worked hard on this platform, but I went through that. Yeah. But but after a while it wears you out. You run out of gas.
Yeah, you do.
You run out of gas, and you see it for what it really is. You sober up, because we be drunk off of whatever it is that they're offering to us. Yeah. And I sobered up, and so I was like, nah, this ain't it.
This ain't it. I gotta make sure I'm straight. Because actually, in actuality, you have other people that kind of not rely on your success, but are getting to their next level because of what you've been able to do. Right. So without you, if you crumble, it's kind of messing some other people up too.
Right. Absolutely.
I get it. So I definitely want.
And then how can I one of the things that's important to me is that I always operate with integrity, and they don't do that. And then for me, even on my platform, even though I'm not the relationship expert, I don't give relationship advice. Right. What I do is I talk about personal experiences. I paint the picture so people can kind of think through their experiences, and then they can get those practical principles on how to move a little bit differently, right? Based on how I've already come through. Because you should never be on a platform talking about things that you are currently going through. Yeah. Because how can you help if you in it? You haven't gone through it yet. You should never do that. That's not operating with integrity, number one. But then number two is like, how do you expect people to respect you and what you're doing if you're not making good decisions behind the scenes?
I like that.
Even if people don't know, God knows, and he'll sit your ass down until you get it together. Yeah. And so that's what I had to do. I didn't want to be sat down. I sat down for 2 years during COVID. So I didn't want to sit down no more.
You running now. In the heels. I ain't mad at you. I see you. But no, that's awesome, because why would I listen to a person tell me how to make $1 million that doesn't have any money?
Absolutely.
Right? So I get what you're saying. You like, hey, listen, I'm not going to tell you about what I'm currently dealing with. I'm telling you something that I dealt with, looked at it, identified it, processed it, healed from it, and now I can talk about it.
Absolutely. Even like with the rejection, people say, well, Chanel, why'd you pick rejection? Because this is the culmination of one season and the start of a new season for me.
Gotcha.
I have experienced a tremendous amount of rejection in my life. I mean, for those of you who don't know my story, I used to be ashamed of this, but I'm no longer ashamed of this because I look good. But I'm 48 years old, and people even, people judge, well, not looking at me from a physical sense of saying you old, but then knowing that, and I got a little shade here and there on social media when I was in a particular partnership. And so, people throwing shade at me and making me feel some type of way about how I look and my appearance. And I'm like, dang, I ain't never had these issues before until now. Why am I having these issues now?
Folks want to knock you down. They want to take you off that platform because they want to be on it. Sometimes people want to be where you are, and they don't know what it took for you to get there.
Right. I played into it for a little while though. Right. So I had to figure out, that's when I had to figure out who I was as a woman, you know what I'm saying, as a businesswoman, because I'm like, here I am. I'm starting to forget who I am. Right. Everything that I work for is being minimized right now.
So is this almost like that social media noise is super loud?
Yeah.
Okay, the negative stuff was loud.
Because you value other people's opinion over what you know about yourself. Right. So that's where you got to get a different view. And so for me, rejection was transitioning out of that season of rejection, because ain't nobody rejecting me no more.
I got you.
I ain't even going to give you no chance
bell for that. Nope, ain't gonna happen.
I'm not even gonna give you a chance. Like, because what I learned on the platform this past weekend is we're not everybody's cup of tea. You're not gonna be compatible with everybody, and that's okay.
That's okay.
It don't even have nothing to do with what you look like. Like I tell the story of how I wore the weave for a year trying to gain the attention of a man, only for him to come back and tell me after that year that my short haircut was my superpower. Well, I already knew that. Right. But I was trying to fit a mold trying to get his attention, when I'm like, if I'm not good enough for you, if this is not good enough for you, then move on. Right. So it'll be good enough for somebody.
But you're comfortable. So you saying I'm comfortable like this, right? And I know this is my swag, this is my drip right here, right? But you like, I'm gonna switch it up a little bit to get your attention. But the reality is, if they're not attracted to who you are for real, then they won't stay attracted when the real you comes out.
Exactly. Okay. And the hair ain't had nothing to do with it. Right. I was just trying to, we women, whenever we experience rejection from a man, the first thing we do is we want to look at what the other female looks like. I get you. And so the commonality from what I saw was they all had long hair, because I was like, they ain't not pretty in the face. They don't look better than me. Right. But I saw that they all had long hair. It was like something that I felt like this is what he likes. He had a type. Right. And so I was like, well, let me try it. I don't know why I thought that.
And I think that's why so many people rock with you in your show, because it's like that's a real approach to something like that. Yeah. And you shared it.
Yeah, people don't tell her. That's the thing, the difference between me and the next person. I'm gonna tell you the truth, because we all go through it. I think one of the people, what people really love, the feedback that I've gotten from what they love about me is that I'm relatable. And I want to be. That's the whole point, to let you know, like, you're not the only one going through what you're going through. I've gone through it. I've experienced more rejection than most because I am 48 and I've never been married. Gotcha. No kid, none of that. So I have those experiences that I believe that, as I share, will be able to help the next person. Maybe they're gonna experience it, but maybe navigate through it a little bit better, because rejection make you do some crazy stuff. Yeah. It make you feel things that you don't really feel.
Yeah, I definitely. I've been there, so I get it. I definitely get it, and I've seen it. Like it's funny you said that first thing sometimes females do, they may switch something up or something like that. It's like, I know from experience that anytime it's like men have patterns, right? And then we switch patterns. That's how they're doing something crazy, right? So in a relationship, when I see a female that she starts paying way more attention to her physical attributes and stuff like that, I'll be like, oh, she trying to get somebody else's attention. I probably done overstayed my welcome. It's probably time for me to go. You know what I'm saying? She's switching it up on me. So I get it. I definitely get that. Yeah,
and then you look at other people. We look at other women. We look at what other people are doing. I've never been one. Me personally, have never really played into what somebody else was doing. I've always been content with what God gave me. Yeah. So this was the first time for me at this age, like second guessing myself, like, And so when I look back on it, I'm like, girl, you lost. You tripping. You tripping. Like, you better put some respect on my name, because really and truly, I was starting to forget who I was, everything that I worked for, Right. So, but if you allow a person that space in your life to hold more value than you do for yourself, then that's what'll happen. I don't think they was doing it on purpose, but that's just the energy that was being given off. Yeah, and you were able to identify that and move differently. So that's dope. That's dope. And then share it with other people too, so they can grow from it. So I think that's the real caveat right there, that you're able to help people through your own experiences. Absolutely. Super dope, man. So having these CheMinistry relationships and talks on a platform that is basically built for people that look like you, right? To be able to have these relatable conversations. How dope is that? It's amazing. It's like, it's my way of giving back. It's my way of sharing pieces of myself in hopes that people don't necessarily make the same choices that I've made. Like, people say, well, you never wanted to be married? Absolutely. I've been wanting to be married as long as I can remember. I just
don't want to do it the wrong way.
Don't want to do it the wrong way, but also just made bad decisions. It didn't just like, it's like this for a reason. Now, I can't explain why I'm single right now in this moment.
That's just because you just started a TV show. You know, we got to prioritize.
Yeah, but making I did before CheMinistry. I never intended for it to be 8 years, but I was celibate for 8 years. Okay. No, I didn't date because I don't believe it when people. That's a whole nother topic. But when people say, "Oh, but we celibate, but we date," I believe
because it's a difference between abstinence and celibacy. Celibacy is that you're refraining from having sex or the acts to getting married, right? So that just means you're not dating, you're not doing anything. Right. You're basically getting to know yourself.
Right. Okay. Right. Absolutely. And I didn't do that on purpose. You know, and then I didn't do it for as long as I did it on purpose. It's just what happened. And so when I was transitioning out of that space of wanting to date, because I went through a real traumatic experience where I lost everything. And I wrote a book about it, so it ain't no secret. Right. And so
go get the book.
Go get the book. It's Girl Power Uncensored. It was a compilation of books with Jay Nash. She had about 22 of us women write a book on stories about past pain. Okay. And so as I was transitioning out of that space, my personal struggle was failed relationships. Like none of our relationships worked. And it was all because I was attracting men who were emotionally unavailable to me.
But is that because they were emotionally unavailable? Was that because that's what you wanted to bring out of somebody? Yeah.
It's like I felt like they may be emotionally unavailable, but I'm going to change. Yeah. They're going to like me. Okay. And I'm going to change them. And that was never the case. Right. And so I wanted to understand the male perspective. Like I know the female perspective. I'm a female. But I wanted to create a space where it was free of judgment and I had a voice because I had also experienced a church hurt where I didn't have a voice.
Okay, we just talked about that with somebody else.
The experience was at the church, so I didn't have that as an outlet for me. Okay. So when I had the opportunity to create CheMinistry, it was an opportunity to have that outlet, but also be able to have the conversations with men about certain behaviors. Like I wanted to understand, so why did you do that and why did that happen? Or, and so, but you can't have a wholesome conversation without a man and a woman. Right. But it was really to gain the male perspective. And so that's where CheMinistry came from. It was a vision. We used to have these platforms at my church back in Nashville, and he would have women's night out, men's night out. So it was inspired by that. Right.
And so took it to the next level. Now we're having a real live conversation. So what were some things that you learned speaking to men about their being emotionally unavailable?
A lot of times it had absolutely like we internalize again rejection. Right. We internalize when someone doesn't want to be with us. We think it's about us. Right. I found out that it had absolutely nothing to do with us women most times. That it's just where they are in their lives. Yeah, exactly. It's their own, because men, you guys have your own journey. And that's what I try to get ladies to understand, because we try to make it about us, even like what we want. Like if he ain't doing this, if he ain't doing that, then but no, he got his own journey, and his best interest is himself. His better interest is himself, not you.
Just like it should be for her.
Just like it should be for her.
Your best interest is yourself. Yeah. And if I can do something to make it better with you, then that's cool.
And that's how
now
we're
a partnership.
Right. But women don't understand that.
Men don't either a lot of times too, though. So like we take things personal because men shouldn't be emotional, but we are sensitive, right? So
very sensitive. Very
don't
sensitive.
Do that. No, so we are sometimes. So we'll take something personal, right? Just like you said with women. So like she may not be doing something that you like, but then we take it personal, so we don't vocalize it. Hey, could you try this? And then that could really just solve the problem right then.
So CheMinistry is created to address that problem too, because a lot of times when you meet someone new, rather than go to them and express whatever it is that you don't like, you just ghost them. You stop responding to text messages and calls. You be like, what happened? Did I say something wrong? So CheMinistry was created to help get past that place of stagnation where we're actually communicating. A lot of us, women and men, we have a lot of pride when it comes to relationships. And I tell people, there was a scenario, same guy I'm speaking of, we were in a situation in the context of a conversation where I asked the man, so why don't you like me? Why didn't you ever want to date me? And he gave me his answer. He said he liked to date multiple women, and I wasn't cool with that. I don't know if I believe that answer, but nonetheless, I asked.
Sometimes though, men will be in the spot where they don't want to be serious, and they meet a woman who they like. I need to be serious with her. I ain't gonna mess that up, but I'm not even gonna play with her.
Right.
And then they get mad.
Bro, then and you know what? I understand. I understand that mindset, and I appreciate them not wasting my time.
Right.
But then when I see you go and try to be, I'm not saying the relationships was successful, but I'm like, but you over there trying to build with them. So what is that?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's when we start taking stuff personal. Like, okay, then he must like her better than he likes.
That's happened to me before. Like I was dating a young lady, and it was fun per se. When I say it wasn't a serious relationship, right? It was fun, right? And then you end up getting into a relationship with somebody else, and then she literally hit me with the, "Oh, you gonna do all that with her?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, this is what happened. This is what it grew into. It just didn't grow into that with you." Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh my God, I'm 55.
No, I was just saying, like, it wasn't personal, even though we had a personal relationship.
So why didn't you?
I didn't necessarily. It was just certain things that didn't happen with me and the young lady that happened with me and the other, person I started.
But why?
Dating. I don't know why. I can't pinpoint the exact reason. It was just some. And you know what? When you say you talk to somebody, right, and then you may see some things and don't say anything. I have done that before. Okay. But when her actually said it, I was like, I'm not comfortable with this. And I was vocal about certain things. You know what I mean? And I don't know how she took it or whether it shut down or not. But then when we had that conversation, I was like, I told you I wasn't comfortable with this. You know what I mean? But we continued to have different types of relations or relationships. Right. And I was just like, I told you that though. Like, why are you mad when I was vocal about it?
But let me ask you this. You were dating multiple women at one time. Yeah. That's a no for me.
That's fine. But I told them, if you let everybody know what's going on, it's not exclusive right now. Okay. The only issue I've seen with that is if you're a good person to that person, then they make you, they own your space. Even if you say it. Like, I think sometimes we get into the position, because I've done this with a female taking that position where she's like, hey, I'm not really trying to be serious right now, but the relationship is so good. You like, well, I feel like it should be serious, but she might not be in a headspace. You know what I mean? So I get it.
Right, I guess if you are explicit with what you want, that's another conversation too. Like dating, like I'll just hang out in the friend zone me until you ready to just date me.
Well, I think that now social media has made it almost impossible for women to do that anymore. Because like men have, I don't think it's just a Atlanta thing. I think men historically have been like, okay, I'm gonna date multiple people till I find out who's the right person. I think women do that too, but y'all never got caught. That's just me. That's my personal thing. Because I have like sisters and friends, and I've seen them do it.
Women do that. I guess I'm one. Like, this is another discovery that I made about myself within the last 2 years or so. Because all my friends, they always were either married or they were dating someone. There was never a time where they was just
y'all be having backup plans.
But what I learned is that they date men who may not even be potential or may not even have a level of a compatibility. They're just out there floating, trying to putting fillers out there and having a good time. Whereas me, I'm like, well, if I don't like you, if I'm not attracted to you, then I'm not gonna waste my time.
I think that's a better approach, because
I think so too.
You may have had failed relationships, but you haven't had a failed marriage, and then because of that, like, I think that that's a different level of commitment. And you're dating people that are like, okay, I can see this in you. And if it don't work, okay, cool. But I'm not applying to work at Wendy's when I know I have a law degree. Right. And I think that's the approach you kind of take.
Absolutely.
Right. I see that a lot with women. Now I say, like, okay, you want to shoot at a certain level, but you're dating guys or having guys around you that aren't at the level you're trying to be at.
Exactly. That's because they have gotten tired of waiting and they have settled. It just doesn't work. Yeah. Somebody's gonna end up getting hurt too. Okay. You know? When I was younger, I would just kind of date knowing that I wasn't interested in anything long term. And because we were so cool, normally we got along well, we had a great friendship. Right. That when I did meet someone that I really liked, it would end disastrously with the other person, because they were thinking we were headed towards a relationship, when in fact the whole time my mind was already checked out on something else.
Friend zoned him. He ain't even know it.
Yeah, pretty much. So I learned that that's just not the move. I mean, I tried that one time a couple of years ago. I went out on like 2 dates with this guy. It was in the same weekend, so it wasn't even spread out. And I had such a good time, but I knew he was not for me.
It wasn't it.
And I called him up, and it was the hardest thing in the world, because he thought, well, we had fun. Right. We had such a good time. And I said, we did. Yeah. And I don't mind going out with you again, but I'm letting you know.
This is platonic.
And I can even pay my way, you know, because we had such a good time.
But that's a grown-up conversation that you have to appreciate. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would say any man should appreciate it, but it's rough out here. These dudes is crazy. I see they don't know how to handle rejection or be friends or be just platonic. Like, it's weird. It's a weird place.
Right. It is very weird. So I just chill out by myself and have friendships, and I hang out in the friend zone, because I'm telling you, but for any of y'all that's listening and thinking about approaching me, I don't do that multiple dating thing.
There you go.
I don't do it.
She can be like Oprah. She's gonna have Stedman in the pool house. But when it's all said,
the only difference between me and Oprah, though, because I'm marrying Stedman.
There you go.
Stedman putting a ring on it.
I ain't mad at that at all. Now, I really appreciate it. So, foxsoul, this CheMinistry is on foxsoul. People can go and stream these episodes. We got a new episode coming out sometime in June about rejection.
Yes.
Okay. I need to watch that episode. So
and the trauma bonding is on their YouTube page now.
Right. I need to definitely watch that. I know a few people I'm going to send this link to. I'm like, hey, check this out. This is crazy. Hopefully they ain't watching this episode right here. So we definitely gonna check it out. All right, we're gonna move into the second part of this show. We do our fast forward questions. All right, so I'm gonna ask you some things. You come up with whatever answer you come up with. I know you're gonna keep it 1,000. It could be one word. It could be a whole sentence. All right, so you ready to play?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Here we don't be batting them lashes like that. This is gonna be fun. I ain't gonna jam you up. All right, one thing you wish everyone knew about Chanel, especially now because you're on a larger platform. A lot of people know you. More people are going to see you now. So one thing you wish everyone knew about you without you having to explain it.
Can I curse?
Yeah.
I'm cool as fuck.
That's what I'm talking. Let me hit that. I could see it when she walked in the door. I felt it. That's what I'm
people
talking
think
about.
I'm bougie and stuck up and, mean and I'm about my business, but I'm real cool and down to earth.
That's what I'm talking
about.
Yeah,
I like to have fun. I like to laugh.
That's what I'm talking about. Sometimes we see successful women. Sometimes we get a certain persona on them, but nah, you cool. That's what I'm talking about. All right, number 2. If you've received any form of information from guests, past guests, or at one of the CheMinistry episodes that you've implemented almost in daily life, what was that thing?
Oh, information from a guest?
Maybe you heard something, you was like, you know what, I'm going to use that.
Oh, God. No. I haven't got any information from my guests that I'm going to use.
Okay. No words of advice or wisdom that you may have taken and be like, you know what, I'm gonna use that on myself, in my situation.
I think I gained more of understanding, and that was just from my expert Stefan Speaks, which I mean he gives this to all of us, but he let me know that you ain't everybody's cup of tea. So don't get mad if somebody don't like you.
That's it.
Be cool with that.
That's
That's
it.
Somebody is out there, but just not them.
Right.
It's
everybody don't drink Ace of Spades, but it's still the best on the shelf.
Exactly. There it is.
All right, cool. All right, so you get an episode, right? And you get to pick 5 guests. Any 5 guests. What topic do you want it to be, and what guests do you want on?
Wow. I would have to have Will and Jada.
Okay.
I don't know what topic we're gonna talk. We might talk about infidelity, because Will said they never had infidelity in their marriage.
So I need to know what their understanding is to get to that definition. I think we all want to know. We all watching that episode. Somebody at Fox, make it happen right now.
He told Gail we never had infidelity in our marriage. So
and everybody was like, what does that mean? We need a definition of infidelity in that situation then, because your definition ain't the one I got.
Exactly. I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
Okay.
They had entanglement though. We heard that.
Yeah, we heard the entanglement. So I mean that's what he said. And then how many I got? You
get 5 guests.
I get 5 guests? Okay. So I get 3 more. Let's see. Who would I want relationship wise? Gosh, it's so many. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll bring LeBron and his wife on.
Okay, so now you get one more person. So that's good. Because they're both highest profile, probably athlete in the world.
Yes.
His wife, but we've never seen him in a public situation.
Ever. How did he do that? Is he
Yeah.
really operating with integrity, or they got some NDA. What is
hell of an NDA going? Something is happening.
Something is happening. So they would be great on my next platform.
Okay.
And then I got one more person. Who would
you can make it another couple. We can
another
cheat.
couple.
This is our situation, dream situation. We can make it happen.
All right. So we got Will and Jada, LeBron and Savannah.
Wow.
And you know who I would like to have? I would like to have maybe a Kim Kardashian and not her new dude, Kanye.
Right. Kanye, and
yeah,
Kim.
in my dream where I would have both of them on.
Okay,
There. I just want to know, like, because he's so real. I would really want to hear his explanation as to why he chose Kim. Because Kim, the only person in the world who can have public relationships with multiple men and still get top tier men. Like, they don't judge her, but let one of us do that. They're gonna be like, nah, you was with so and so.
They're doing it now with Lori Harvey. They doing it now with her.
Yeah. Oh, that would be another one. Lori Harvey and Michael. I would love to have them.
Okay.
Or either one at a time. I wouldn't like to have them together.
Okay. You split them up.
Yeah.
We can do
Y'all
that.
split them
we
up.
can do that. We do a 2-part episode. You'd be good.
Yeah, because he should have knew. Like,
he said she should have.
Yeah, he should have known. But he was trying to look. I was gonna say save her, but
Yeah.
he was trying.
We love y'all.
So
that was the
innocent.
right. This is why we love your show. This is why we gonna watch it every week. All right. One piece of advice you would give yourself at 18.
Ooh. At 18, man, love yourself. Love yourself before you try to love anybody else.
Okay.
I would have been saved a lot of heartache had I just loved Chanel. But when I was young, I used to try to attach my value to men. When I was young, I used to love dating basketball players. I mean, I'm transparent about this. I actually got a book coming out soon. I'll talk about it. But I'm 6'1".
Your height, right?
Yeah, I'm 6'1", and
don't
so
want to be looking down at the person.
Don't
you
want
hugging
to.
them down. You holding a hand like this when y'all out.
Yeah.
Okay.
That ain't. I don't. And so I made a lot of mistakes when I was younger dating those types of men. Those were the emotional, unavailable men because they wanted to date me and everybody else. I'm friends with a lot of those guys, and I get the truth now. That's the one thing I get to ask those questions. I be doing CheMinistry on them. So why we go through this?
Don't be using your platform to work through stuff. No, it's flat.
I do. I be asking them because that's where I get, like, I don't think if I didn't have those experiences or those failed situations, there would be no CheMinistry because there would be no need for it. Right. But I truly wanted to understand after I got to be a certain age and my status was still single, I wanted to understand better, like, why am I single? Like, why is it this way? So, I mean, God had his own plan as to, how this thing was going to come about, but it was derived from those experiences that I had.
I definitely understand that. That was the last question, but we got time. So I'm going to ask you another one based on that. What is the definition for you of loving yourself?
Wow. Loving yourself is, first of all, loving yourself is giving yourself the opportunity to, first of all, live out your life's purpose. Like, know who you are. Okay. Tap into that first. Like, this is practical. Like, know who you are. Find out what your purpose is, invest in yourself, and start there. Because one of the things that I've learned years ago, I've been praying for a husband for years. This is nothing new. I've been praying for a husband literally for about 20 years plus. And when I prayed for that, he gave me CheMinistry. I'm like, wait a minute, I ain't asked you for that, Lord. I asked you. But he was like, no, I gave you purpose first. You asked me for a husband because you need to know who you are first. Because when you connect with someone, when it's done with God at the foundation for real, it's not about you or that other person. It's about what you're going to do for the kingdom. It's bigger than you. And he put that vision on inside of you and them, and then you guys meet in the middle, and then you guys take it where you need to go. All that attraction and all that, the romantic aspect, that's a bonus. Right. That is a bonus, right? So I would have invested more time in myself, getting to know me. It took me a long time to figure out who I was. So I was looking for it in other people, trying to connect with but I've always been the odd man out. Even when I tried to connect and be that girl and that lifestyle, it just wasn't me. And it never worked out for me. It never. And that's another thing, because a lot of times we get upset when we're rejected by certain people, but the reality is that our motives are not in the right place. Why are you connecting with that person? person.
You lied on the resume. You can't keep the job.
You can't. Do you really like them, or do you like what they do, or do you like who they are?
Right.
Or you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times these emotionally unavailable or unavailable emotionally men, they ain't treating you right. So why you want to be with them so bad?
I got you.
What are they doing so great?
You just liked him because he was tall.
Yeah, you just liked them because of that. So that's not a good reason to want to connect with someone.
Look at you. You're going to end up with a vertically challenged person.
No, sir, I'm not. No, because I'm very specific in my prayers. And God knows what I want. He knows my heart's desire. But that's important, you know, to connect with people for the right reasons. You can't get upset because, you know, money changes things. Money make people who don't look good look good. You know what I'm saying?
You see these very, very, very attractive women hopping out this expensive car, and then the dude get out, and I be like, he look like an extra from Harry Potter. I know what's going on here. Yeah, I get it.
Mismatch. And so you can't get upset when it doesn't work out because your motives weren't in the right place. They just wasn't.
That's real. That's real. I like it. I would end on that note, but we got to do our Reese's Peace of Mind and Pop Knows Best. Once again, I appreciate you for coming by.
Thank you for having me.
Make sure y'all check her show out on foxsoul. That's what I'm talking about. The biggest streaming platform from Fox, and is made from Fox before people with soul. We know what that means. We ain't got to spell it out. Right. So make sure that y'all check it out. All right, our Reese's Peace of Mind and Pops Knows Best for the day is as long as you leave it untreated, pain can only hurt you the same way. So you got to go in there and figure it out and fix that thing. All right, y'all keep it locked in. We got our mix on the way. If you're on the radio side, appreciate you guys tuned in. Make sure that you check out our beautiful guests all across social media. Tell them where to follow you at too on social media.
You can follow me at Chanel Nicole Scott on Instagram and Coministry Live on Instagram.
There we go. And check it out on Foxsoul. We gone.